Hey friends, today I want to talk about the three lenses that I use the most and why I use them and which one's my favorite, which one's my least favorite, and which one I bring for traveling or for my kids or whatever. So I have three favorite lenses. They're all prime lenses, which means that they don't zoom in out. So I actually have to move my feet closer and back, side to side, if I want to get different angles. I typically only use prime lenses because they have a better glass, they have a lower aperture, and they just all around better quality. I used to have zoom lenses, but I never used them because I just was never happy. Like I always felt like I was way better than what they would all like produce. So for me, I only use prime lenses. So the three lenses that I use the most are the 35 millimeter 1.4, the 50 millimeter 1.8, and 50 millimeter 1.4, and then the 85 millimeter 1.4. So two of them are Nikon. One is a Sigma, and I'll kind of talk about that in a second too. So let's quickly talk about the one that I use just for everyday life, for my kids, for whenever we go on vacation, anything like that. And that is going to be the Nikon 50 millimeter 1.8. And this lens was the very first lens that I purchased, and it has never done me wrong. It's probably the cheapest lens out there that's a prime lens, and I recommend this lens to everybody. Anyone who's starting out, anyone who comes to my workshops, this is the lens that I tell them is kind of the prerequisite in order to come, because it's super inexpensive and it does the job. I use this for wedding days, and I also upgraded to the 50 millimeter 1.4, but I honestly just love this lens a little bit more because the 1.4, sometimes it was soft, sometimes it wouldn't focus well. And so, but the 50 millimeter 1.8 is literally, I never had an issue with it ever. It does the job, it's sharp, it's focused, the color is great, and it's super, super light. That's another reason why I like it and why I bring it whenever we go on vacation or travel, is because it's super light and it's not 100 pounds that I have to carry around. So this is the 50 millimeter 1.8, and I use this just for everyday life. So indoors or tight situations. I use this a lot on wedding days for getting ready and bridal details. So this is the 50 millimeter 1.8. Thomas, my second shooter slash husband, also has the 50 millimeter a lot on during receptions. So this is a really good one. It's very versatile. You can literally shoot an entire wedding day with it. Family sessions, bridal sessions, it can be used for everything. So if you don't already have this lens, you need to get it. It's the Nikon 50 millimeter 1.8. Okay, so the next one that I'll talk about, the other one that I use, is the Sigma Art 35 millimeter 1.4. This lens is so sharp. It's probably the sharpest lens that I own. The color is great. I only use this if I absolutely have to, because with my style, I like a ton of compression and blur in the background. And unfortunately, this lens, although it has great blur, it doesn't have great compression. And so just for my style personally, I don't use this lens unless I absolutely have to. So I use this lens in very tight situations if I'm in a small room, or if I'm wanting to get a really big bridal party, or if there's a huge family, for family formals, I'll pop this lens on my camera. It's Sigma Art 35 millimeter 1.4. Unfortunately, out of the three, this is my least favorite, although it's a gorgeous lens. It's still beautiful. It's never done me wrong. I've calibrated it once or twice, but it's not because I had to. It's just because I was just trying to tune it up. But it's a great lens, and I love him dearly, although he's my least favorite child. But I still carry him around on wedding days, especially for just whenever I need him. Okay, and this one literally never leaves my camera, so I'm going to show you him on my camera. This is the Nikon 85 millimeter 1.4, and you guys, literally this lens never leaves my camera. I shoot bridal sessions with this. I shoot engagement sessions with this. I shoot as much as the wedding day as possible. Like, I've shot full-on bridal parties with this lens, and I'm just like way, way far back behind, just because I love the clarity and the color and the compression that this lens offers. And I can shoot at 1.4 and they be in super, super sharp focus. So this is the Nikon 85mm 1.4. It's my most expensive lens probably that I own, but I definitely get the use out of it because I put this on my camera first and then I just use the other ones if I have to. So yeah, this is by far my most favorite lens, and this what I would consider the best portrait lens. So I call this my skinny lens. The 35mm is a wide angle lens, so sometimes it makes your client look wider than they should, which is another reason why I don't always like the 35. I actually had some headshots taken of me, and my friend used her 35 because it's the only thing she had. My forehead looks like this big in the pictures because like the 35 just kind of like widens and stretches and things, and you don't want that. So the 85 is definitely my skinny lens, and I tell the bridesmaids that and the bride before I even start shooting, and they always appreciate that a lot. So I 100% recommend this lens. It's worth the investment, and I highly believe after you buy the 50mm 1.8, save your pennies, and this needs to be your next purchase. I'm telling you, it's a game changer in your business and in your work, and you're gonna thank me for it. So those are the three lenses that I use the Sigma Art 35mm 1.4, the Nikon 50mm 1.8, and sometimes the 1.4, although he misbehaves it sometimes. And then my favorite of all favorites, and the way it completely makes my style the way that it looks, is the Nikon 85mm 1.4. So hope this helps. If you have any questions, just comment below and I would be glad to help you. And I'm gonna link my some links for the lenses and also my camera in case you want to check them out. So I hope you have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon.